Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So, our lecture today will be exploring one of the most fascinating, controversial, and also complex developments in feminist thought. So, today's lecture will be under the umbrella of post-feminism. This term, if I may say, so this term might sound like we have gone beyond feminism, as if feminism were over or completed. But as we will see today, that you know, it is not quite true that feminism has over. So post-feminism is a term full of tension, contradictions, and also new meanings. It sits between empowerment and commodification, individual freedom and also social control, and between political feminism and also consumer culture. So I'm going to discuss with you and help you understand about the term of post-feminism, the meaning of it, and how it is emerged. And theoretically speaking, it will draw from how it operates in literature, film, and also in media and culture. The next slide, please. Yeah. So when we talk about feminism, of course, that we should begin by defining what we mean by post-feminism. The term post-feminism is widely used to describe a social and cultural condition. In here, people believe that the goals of feminism, such as gender equality, reproductive rights, and freedom from patriarchy, have already been achieved. In other words, it suggests we now live in a world after feminism. For many people, especially in Western societies, this term implies that there is no need for further feminist struggle because women already enjoy equal opportunities and also empowerment. However, feminist theorists like Angela McRobbie and also Rosalind Gill warn us that this belief is misleading. Yeah. So this kind of idea is misleading because feminism has not been over yet. So McRobbie argues that post-feminism does not simply replace feminism, but rather undoes feminism by taking its language of empowerment and turning it into something marketable and apolitical. For example, when we are seeing some advertisements saying because you're worth it, because you're worth it. Yeah. Okay, so I think that we have heard this kind of advertisement in in lip balm advertisement, yeah, Maybelline or L'Oreal or something like that. So this is empowering. The sense of the advertisement is empowering. Or for example, the advertisement says, "Empower yourself with this lipstick." So good. Okay, so these slogans sound feminist, but they actually turn empowerment into a product to sell. So post-feminism is not the end of feminism. It is no cultural and ideological condition. When feminism's achievements are celebrated, but also depoliticized and commodified. Let's go to the next slide, please, Kimmy. Okay, so why post-feminism matters here? Well, ladies and gentlemen, why does post-feminism matter? Post-feminism matter because the word post here can mean two different things: after and beyond. Post-feminism emerges out of debates with feminism itself, debates about how successful feminism has been and what happens after its apparent success. It asks typical questions, of course. Has feminism achieved what it wanted? Or has it been absorbed and neutralized by neoliberal capitalism and consumer culture? We still do not know yet. This question is vital because it forces us to examine how feminism has changed from a collective political movement into a personal identity or lifestyle. For instance, instead of fighting patriarchy through activism, women today are often encouraged to empower themselves by buying products, managing their bodies, and performing confidence online. This shift from political activism to personal branding, and it is one of the key marks of post-feminism. Now you can see when you do online shopping on the uh, a certain platform online, so you are empowered to beautify yourself by buying or maybe selling the products in order to get income, and at the same time you are also beautified and objected by the advertisement. So this is the goal, yeah, of post-feminism. Okay. Next slide, please, Kimmy. Well, okay. We are talking about the historical context. So let's situate post-feminism historically. From 1960s to 1980s, we had the second wave of feminism, a period focused on liberation, equality, and legal rights. Think of figures like Simone de Beauvoir, Betty Friedan, Gloria Steinem, and the movement was collective, political, and cultural. Then came to 1990s, an era of neoliberal expansion, and global consumerism. So feminism began to appear in magazines, fashion, and media, not as a protest, but as a style. Remember, in 1990s, this is one of the movements, yeah, that could be considered not as a protest, but as a style. And feminism became fun, fashionable, and marketable. This is where post-feminists discovers that their discourse really began to grow in 1990s. From 2000s to present, we see a hybrid situation. Feminism meets capitalism. Empowerment becomes both a moral good and a commercial slogan. We see this in pop music, in TV shows, and influencer culture. Influencer culture. We have so many different influencers in many different, styles, organizations, and many things to publish online. And you know, in here, we could say that post-feminism is a cultural formation born out of liberal modernity. If it is what happens when feminism enters mass culture, so this become a cultural phenomenon where, the born of the neoliberal modernity. Next slide, please. Yes. Well, here we are talking about the development from feminism to post-feminism. Let's compare these two frameworks then. Traditional feminism, especially second wave feminism, emphasized collective struggle and structural critique, changing systems of power such as patriarchy, law, and labor. Post-feminism, on the other hand, emphasizes individual empowerment and personal choice. So instead of demanding change from the system, post-feminism tells women to change themselves. So this is one of their strengths. Yeah. For example, instead of protesting unequal beauty standards like white and black, so women are told to feel empowered by following them through makeup, fitness, and self-care routines. Feminism says, let's fight for equality. But post-feminism says, you are already equal. Now just be confident and look good. Yeah, okay, look at the picture. So this shift from collective politics to personal responsibility is central to post-feminist ideology. It sounds empowering, but can be subtly oppressive. Well, the next slide, please. Okay, yes. We are trying to define post-feminism. Now let's define post-feminism more clearly. Look at the picture. It's not anti-feminism. It doesn't reject feminist values outright. Instead, it operates after feminism, taking feminist ideas and reinterpreting them in a new cultural context. Rosalind Gill, 2007, argues that post-feminism should be seen not as a movement, but as a sensibility, a way of thinking and feeling that shapes media and culture. So our media and culture today have been shaped by this kind of idea. And this sensibility is characterized by an emphasis on empowerment and choice. And then a belief that women's liberation is achieved through personal agency, not collective struggle. No. And a focus on self-surveillance and discipline, where women regulate their own behavior to fit social norms. Well, okay. So I think that you will have this kind of idea when you watch Legally Blonde. Yeah. So women regulate their own behavior to fit social norms, what society expects them to be. A neoliberal idea of success where freedom equals self-management. So, post-feminism is both liberating and limiting. It tells women they are free, but still demands that they perform that freedom in specific, socially acceptable ways. See, this is another oppression. Now let's go to the next slide, Kimi. Yeah, let's talk about the founding thinkers and the influencers in post-feminism. We should highlight the thinkers who shaped the discussion. The first one is Angela McRobbie. So in her book, The Aftermath of Feminism, she argues that popular culture has appropriated feminist language, but emptied it of its political content. Yeah. And Rosalind Gill, in her Gender and the Media, analyzes post-feminist sensibility in advertisements, magazines, and TV shows. Then we have Judith Butler, in her Gender Trouble and also in her Beauty Myth, 1991. Yeah. She exposes how the beauty industry maintains control by disguising it as liberation. And the next one is Susan Faludi. Yeah. So in her Backlash, 1991, so she reveals how media and culture push back against feminist realms or games. So together, these thinkers from different times and also different publication, they form the intellectual foundation of post-feminism, where gender, power, and media interrelated or intersects. Now let's go to slide 8. Kimmy? Yes. The theoretical foundations on post-feminism. So let's see here that theoretically speaking, post-feminism is rooted in several traditions. The first one, it comes from feminist theory, of course, particularly the debates of the 1980s. Yeah. Oh, okay, 1980s and 1990s, about the direction of feminism after the second wave. And then second, yeah, it draws on postmodernism, which challenges grand narratives and emphasizes fluid identities. So postmodernism helps us understand how gender becomes performative and fragmented. Third one, postfeminism is influenced by Michel Foucault's ideas about power, discourse, and self-regulation. In this framework, yeah, according to Michel Foucault, power doesn't simply oppress from above. It circulates through everyday practices, shaping how we think and act. And post-feminism, post-feminist subjects are, they are not directly forced into submission. They choose to conform through self-discipline, consumption, and body management. Body management, or we should call it as body politics. And finally, post-feminism engages with neoliberalism, consumerism, and media theory. It asks how the market transforms political struggles into lifestyle choices. And it also dialogues with intersectionality through early post-feminist writings, often ignored race and class. More recent ones integrate those concerns. So we have seen the development of post-feminist movement. Now let's go to the next slide. Some major themes in post-feminism. We have individual choice and agency here. Well, okay, so I think that when you read Saman and watch Legally Blonde 1, so you will encounter some women who are encouraged to express empowerment through personal choice, regardless of structural inequalities. So Elle Woods here, in the film, she is pushed to express her own choice. Yeah, and also we have sexual empowerment and visibility. And here, female sexuality is celebrated as liberation, yet it often reproduces old patriarchal norms sometimes. So we could see that, the female bonding, yeah, is also, dreaming about men's world. And they try to enter to the male kingdom. So, well, I think that it reproduces old patriarchal norms. And next one is about irony and self-conscious femininity. Post-feminist culture often uses irony, such as, I know this is sexist, but it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I know that this is sexist, but it's fun. Yeah. Okay. So you will see this kind of evidence in Saman and also in Legally Blonde 1. Now, what about the consumer culture? When talking about the consumer culture, post-feminism tells us about the empowerment is linked to consumption, fashion, beauty, and lifestyle industries. And the next one is about the ambivalence toward feminism itself. So post-feminism both celebrates and distances itself from feminism. Okay, all these themes reflect the contradictions of our time. We live in an age where feminism sells, but also struggles to survive in its radical form. Next, please. Yes. Rosalind Gill identifies key features of what she calls the post-feminist sensibility. So let's break them down here. Number one is femininity as a bodily property. Women's values is tied to how they look. The body becomes a site of work and self-expression. Look at the picture. Number two, sort of self-surveillance and discipline. Here, women monitor and control themselves through diets, fitness, and beauty routines, believing it's their choice. Yeah, that's very interesting. And the next one is the makeover paradigm. You know, in makeover paradigm, transformation is celebrated as empowerment, as seen in TV shows where women reinvent themselves. So you could see in most TV shows, women, do touch up, and they said that they reinvent themselves because of the makeup and different things, and also fashion. Yeah. Well, all right. Next one is about the reassertion of sexual difference. Here, instead of erasing gender difference, post-feminism reaffirms it, presenting femininity as desirable and empowering. So empowerment becomes less about freedom from norms and more about the ability to perform them with style. Now let's go to the next slide. Yes, we are going to talk about the methodological approaches. I think that I have discussed with you about some theoretical framework and also some standpoints by post-feminist thinkers. Now we are going to see some methodological approaches attached to this theory. When we study post-feminism academically, we rely on a range of methodological tools to unpack how ideas about gender, empowerment, and identity circulate through culture. Dear all, the first approach is, of course, discourse analysis. I think that you have studied about discourse analysis. Yeah. This comes directly from Foucault's influence, and we look at how language, media, and imagery construct particular subjectivities. For example, how advertisements tell women to be yourself, while subtly divining what that self should be, and what that self should look like. We don't know exactly what kind of self it is. And a second method is a critical, a cultural critic. Here, we try to examine how cultural products like television, film, magazines, music videos communicate gender values. We ask what is being normalized there, who gets to be empowered, what roles are being reinforced or challenged. Yeah, so cultural critic here will see how what has been put as a standard in the culture is being turned down upside, yeah, turned down ups and downs. Yeah. And I think that when we watch the TV show like today, TV shows, for example, Dangdut Academy, and also Pagi-Pagi Ambiar, Brownies, and many other TV shows, so we always ask, what is being normalized here? Who gets to be empowered? What roles are being reinforced or challenged? So these questions will be addressed to the existence of certain characters and certain figures on the shows. For example, Ivan Gunawan, Jirayut, and many others. So we are trying to ask, what is it, and what is being, objectified, what is being normalized, and blah blah blah. All right. And the next one, or the third one, is the textual analysis. So this involves a close reading of text, both literary and visual. And it is used to decode representations of gender, irony, and empowerment. For instance, when analyzing Sex and the City, we might explore how irony allows the show to criticize and yet reproduce consumerist femininity. And the last one is an intersectional reading. In intersectional reading, it is a crucial step by post-feminism. Post-feminism has often been criticized for centering white, middle-class, heterosexual women. Yeah. So intersectional analysis brings in class, race, sexuality, and ability, helping us see who is excluded from post-feminist discourses. So our methods combine theory and criticism. We read culture as text and text as culture. Now let's go to the next slide. Yes. All right. Now see the pictures on the right side. Yeah. I think that you have spotted that the character or the figure in the picture here is Carrie Bradshaw. Carrie Bradshaw. So she performs one of the leading characters in Sex and the City. Carrie Bradshaw is the name of the character in the movie or in the TV show. So her real name is Sarah Jessica Parker. Yeah, I'm so sorry. So in literary studies, post-feminism offers an exciting but also challenging analytical framework. We use it to explore how female characters negotiate empowerment within contemporary narratives, not simply as victims or heroines, but as complex, self-aware subjects. For instance, in novels like Bridget Jones' Diary or Gone Girl, Sex and the City, the female protagonists are not passive figures. They reflect deeply on their roles in society. They joke about feminism, they use irony, they celebrate their agency, but they are also entangled in structures of self discipline and desire. For example, they have to go to work early in the morning and they have to chase some public transportations in order to catch up the working hours. And also, they have to fight and struggle against other women in order to get lovers. So this is very interesting. Yeah. Now, yes. So post-feminism, yeah, I should say post-feminist, the people in it, when they do literary analysis, sometimes they focus on irony, reflexivity, and also agency. So it studies how women's stories are told in a world that claims equality but still demands conformity. So to put that in another way, literature becomes a mirror of post-feminist contradictions, showing both liberation and limitation. Okay, next slide, please. Well, okay, when we talk about post-feminism and its position in literary analysis, we could see that there are some possibilities when we talk about method in literary application. So when applying post-feminist theory to literary works, we often combine insights from feminist theory and post-structuralism. We ask questions such as, how do characters experience freedom and control simultaneously? How does narrative voice express self-awareness or irony? And then, is empowerment portrayed as a genuine act of liberation or as a marketing strategy within the story? So let's see the example in The Devil Wears Prada. Yeah? So The Devil Wears Prada. We see empowerment being sold as a kind of success within capitalist logic. And also in Legally Blonde, for example, the act of empowerment being sold as a kind of success within law, as law which has much room for interpretation. Yeah, within capitalist logic. Capitalist logic here is Harvard School and law school. The main character's independence is measured by her career, performance, and also fashion choice. Yeah, okay, so it's very interesting. So the method here is not only to look at what women do, but how they are represented and how those representations are commodified. Post-feminist literary analysis is therefore both critical and creative. It exposes contradictions while allowing spaces for new interpretations of female subjectivity. Next slide, please. Yes, good. Now let's see some key post-feminist texts, especially when we talk about works of literature. So we have Bridget Jones' Diary by Helen Fielding in 1996. So this is a humorous portrayal of a single woman navigating love, work, and self-image in a world obsessed with self-improvement. The novel's irony captures the post-feminist paradox, the desire for independence alongside the pressure to find romantic fulfillment. So that's very interesting. And the second one is Sex and the City. It was written by Candace Bushnell. The novel focuses on women's sexual freedom, consumption, and friendship. Feminism here is transformed into lifestyle, cocktails, fashion, and witty empowerment. The next one is The Devil Wears Prada. And the novel by Lauren Weisberger, it shows the tension between empowerment and submission in the world of fashion and career ambition. And the next one is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Gone Girl explores manipulation, image making, and the performance of gender itself. Themes very close to Judith Butler's idea of performativity. And in The Girl, Woman, and Other, by Bernardine Evaristo, the novel expands post-feminist concerns into intersectionality, including Black British womanhood and queer identities. Through these works, we see post-feminism's range from satire to criticism to inclusivity. Yes, the next slide, please. Now, let's go to post-feminism in film and media. Well, film and television have played a crucial role in popularizing post-feminist sensibilities. Like what I have said in the previous slide, there are some features which show post-feminist sensibilities. Think of Legally Blonde, 2001. Okay, this movie is very interesting. Elwood succeeds by embracing femininity, not rejecting it. Her pink outfits and charm are not barriers to intelligence. They become signs of empowerment. This is post-feminism in its most optimistic form. Now let's go to Sex and the City. Yeah, the series um, was showcased in the TV 1998 to 2004. Perhaps the most iconic post-feminist series. It redefines women's lives as a mix of friendship, passion, and self-expression. But at the same time, it presents empowerment within the narrow frame of consumption and urban privilege. Now, what about Fleabag? Fleabag brings a darker, iconic tone. It reveals the contradictions of the modern woman who is self-aware, yet emotionally broken, liberated, yet lonely. And the next one is Barbie in 2023. Barbie is fascinating because it self-consciously performs feminism and criticizes feminism at the same time. Well, Greta Gerwig's Barbie turns post-feminism into meta-feminism. It shows how empowerment is mediated through irony and nostalgia, questioning what feminism means in a world of plastic ideals. Yeah, in a plastic world, like what we've heard in the song about Barbie. Come on, Barbie, let's go party, something like that. Yeah, in a plastic world. So film and media become laboratories of post-feminist experimentation, full of contradictions, humor, and emotional truth. Let's go to the next slide, Kimmy. All right. Well, okay, here in popular culture, post-feminism thrives most visibly. Reality TV shows like The Kardashians, The Bachelor Project, glamorous version of empowerment. Success measured through appearance, fame, and wealth. Yeah, and also in the apprentice, yeah, internship apprentice, and also Take Me Out, for example. So these TV shows promote you can have it all, ideology, yeah, ideologically you can have it all, but within strict beauty and behavioral norms. So you can have it if you can perform some standards. Then we have influencer culture, where women market empowerment through entrepreneurship, the so-called girl boss trend. It celebrates female success, but also ties empowerment to productivity, aesthetics, and personal branding. In pop music, like yeah, artists such as Beyonce or Taylor Swift, they use feminist language. Run the world, girls, okay, or the man, but their feminism often aligns with commercial image making. If advertising has adopted feminist discourse, so campaigning like Dove's Real Beauty or Always Like a Girl promote confidence while selling products. So post-feminism is popular culture merges activism with aesthetics. It uses feminism's language but serves capitalist ends. Yet this visibility also keeps feminist ideas alive in public conversations, even if in diluted form. Yeah. Next slide, please. All right. Oh, so you can see here the body cells. Of course, post-feminism is not without controversy. In fact, it thrives on it. Look at the picture. So some key debates include, does post-feminism betray feminism? Many scholars argue that it undermines feminist politics by replacing structural change with personal attitude. And also, can true choice exist under capitalism? If our choices are shaped by by market forces and social expectations, how free are they really? How free are they? So is sexual empowerment genuine or commodified? Well, post-feminism celebrates female sexuality, but often through media frameworks that objectify women. So here you can see the pictures. These two pictures showcase the objectification of women, especially women's body. So the expression money shot, the Pornhub story, money shot. Okay, so this is objectifying, in fact. Who is excluded from post-feminist discourse? So oftenly, women of color, queer women, and working class women are marginalized in the post-feminist narratives of success. These debates remind us that post-feminism is not a settled theory. It is an ongoing cultural struggle about what it means to be empowered. Next slide, please. Look at the picture then. Okay. All right. So to be fair, post-feminism also has strengths. Okay, what is the picture saying here? But why don't we take that over we were given? We could end up making a lot of money and perhaps even become famous, another girl says. This one. So this is the spirit, yeah, the spirit injected in post-feminism. Now you can see that post-feminism, as what the other, post theories like post-Marxist, yeah, post-Marxist figures, they tend to politize money and power. Okay, next slide, please. Yes. So the strengths of post-feminism, of course, that to be fair, post-feminism also has some strengths. It expands feminism beyond the political sphere, yeah, and brings it into diverse cultural spaces, film, advertising, social media, and so on and so forth. It celebrates pleasure, irony, and agency, acknowledging that women's lives are complex and full of contradictions. It integrates feminist language into mainstream conversation. Even if imperfectly, it keeps feminism visible. And it opens discussions about modern femininity, about choice, performance, and identity. So post-feminism in this way also recognizes that empowerment can take many forms, from academic criticism to creative self-expression. So this pluralism is one of its strengths. Yeah, next, please. Yes, so post-feminism has also its weaknesses and criticism. First of all, it has been co-opted by capitalism. So empowerment becomes a marketing strategy, a way to sell rather than to liberate. Secondly, it tends to focus on individualism rather than social structure. The belief that you can do anything if you try hard enough ignores systemic inequalities. Thirdly, post-feminism often assumes a white, middle-class, heterosexual subject, leaving out the experiences of marginalized women. Lastly, it risks neutralizing the political edge of feminism, transforming it from a revolutionary movement into a fashionable attitude. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Okay. Yes, here. Post-feminism and intersectionality. One of the biggest criticisms of early post-feminism was its lack of intersectionality. In the 1990s and early 2000s, post-feminism largely represented white, Western women. But thinkers like Bell Hooks, Kimberly Crenshaw, and Sarah Ahmed expanded this discourse. Crenshaw introduces the concept of intersectionality, reminding us that gender never exists in isolation, because gender is social construction. It intersects with race, class, sexuality, disability, and geography. Bell Hooks, yeah, also called for a feminism that is inclusive, anti-racist, and rooted in solidarity rather than consumerism. More recently, the fourth wave of feminism, emerging in the 2010s, if I'm not mistaken, reintroduced activism through digital media. Online movements like Me Too, Time's Up, and Body Positive reflect a post-feminist sensibility infused with intersectional awareness. So intersectionality doesn't destroy post-feminism, it deepens it, making it more global and socially conscious. Next, please. Yes. When we talk about, the in academia, post-feminism has become a major research field across disciplines, from media studies to sociology to literature. Academic journals such as Feminist Media Studies, Science, and Gender and Society frequently publish works examining post-feminist phenomena, influencer culture, digital femininities, and effective labor online. So key scholars include Rosalind Jewell, Angela McRobbie, Yvonne Tasker, Diane Negra, and Sarah Bennett Weiser. So they study how digital platforms reframe gender politics. For example, how Instagram feminism blends activism with branding. Yes, okay. Then current academic trends look at digital affect emotional labor and the politics of visibility, how online culture both liberates and disciplines women at the same time. So post-feminism in academia remains vibrant, self-critical, yeah, and deeply connected to real-world gender dynamics. Next, please. Yes. And some publications for some theoretical dialogues and reasons. To understand post-feminism, it's essential to engage with its foundational texts, like The Aftermath of Feminism by Angela McRobbie, and then Rosalind Gill's Post-Feminist Media Culture. It defines post-feminism as a sensibility across media, and Tasker and Negra's Feminism and Popular Culture. It explores how feminism and pop culture mutually shape each other. And Sarah Bennett Weiser's Empowered examines how empowerment becomes a neoliberal brand. Well, these works don't just describe post-feminism in its sense and um, meaning, but they debate it, criticize it, and connect it to the changing face of modern womanhood. Yes, next, please. All right. So these are the examples and also publications about post-feminism. We have many of them here, and I think that I also put the publications on the next slide, Timmy. Yes, this one. And the next one, probably. Yeah, okay. So we go to global and cultural events. Let's connect post-feminism with recent global events. The Me Too movement, for example, revived feminist activism worldwide, showing that systemic gender inequality still exists, proving that feminism isn't over. The rise and falls of Girl Boss, for example, Girl Boss brand, it tells a story about empowerment as entrepreneurship can be exciting, but also exhausting and exclusionary. And in digital culture, feminism has become a hashtag shared through memes, TikToks, and viral videos. It's accessible but also vulnerable to oversimplification. Now, across the globe, women lead protests in Iran, India, Indonesia, and Latin America reveal that feminism now has many faces and languages. Post-feminism, in this sense, is no longer Western. It's plural and global. We are witnessing what some calls post-feminisms in plural, localized, hybrid, and culturally specific. Now let's go to the future of post-feminism, Kimi. Yes. So where do we go from here? The future of post-feminism lies in moving from empowerment to solidarity. While empowerment focuses on the individual, solidarity reveals the collective, reconnecting feminism with activism and care. Future feminist movements will need to bridge theory and practice, and to extend beyond Western frameworks, incorporating indigenous, decolonial, and ecofeminist perspectives. In literature and media, we can expect new forms of storytelling, feminist narratives that are reflexive, digital, and global. So I think that the future of post-feminism is not the end of feminism, but its transformation from self-centered liberation to shared social responsibility. Now let's go to summary and closing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I should like to summarize our today's discussion. Post-feminism is not the death of feminism. It is its afterlife. It reflects feminism's success, but also its absorption into consumer culture. It teaches us that empowerment and oppression can coexist, that irony and sincerity can overlap, and that liberation can be both genuine and commercialized. As scholars and students, ladies and gentlemen, our task is to read these contradictions critically, to appreciate post-feminism's creativity, but also to challenge its limitations. In the digital age, feminism continues to evolve. Post-feminism invites us to participate in that evolution consciously, with awareness, inclusivity, and reflexivity. Well, that's all my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. So these are the list of the references I have made use in the discussion.